What happens when people are forced to flee their homes because of war, violence, or persecution?
ñande aljumare yimɓe juuli lumo o jippi ɓe seedo gendo of ko yalti lumo fa o yalta ko naatata ko sara gendo ko ɓe kawri fuu han
Աչքներս ոչ մի բան չի տեսնում, ինչ են թողել, ինչ ա մնացել, թքած ամեն ինչի վրա կարի, որում մենք սաղով
120 million people are now forcibly displaced around the world. Millions of lives uprooted. Each number tells a story. This is Global Trends. Every year, UNHCR, the UN Refugee Agency, compiles and shares key statistical trends and data on refugees, asylum seekers, internally displaced, and stateless people worldwide. The figures include Palestinian refugees under the mandate of UNRWA. As violence and conflicts rage on, civilians across the world continue to pay an unacceptable price. In 2023, fighting broke out in Sudan's capital, Khartoum. More than 10 million people are now displaced following continued violence. Most of them have fled to safer areas of the country, while 1.9 million fled across the region to Chad, Ethiopia, South Sudan, Central African Republic, and Egypt.
But I don't know what gets them to this fight. It is really meaningless. No words to say about it. It was horrible. It was a horrible war.
In just 1 year, the Sudan emergency became one of the largest displacement emergencies in the world. But many of today's conflicts have been going on for much longer. After more than a decade, 7.2 million Syrians remain internally displaced, while over 6 million are refugees. Their living conditions are extremely dire, while the communities that host them face their own economic hardships. There has been dwindling attention on the Syria crisis and limited resources to provide the support people need. When earthquakes hit Syria and Turkey, which hosts millions of Syrian refugees, the humanitarian situation became even worse for families already struggling to cope in both displaced and host communities.
كانت كتير صعبة وخوف ورعب. عفنا بيوتنا، عفنا أملاكنا، أرزاقنا. اضطريت إنه عندي واحد من الأولاد هذا الكبير كان صف 8، اضطريت أطالعه من المدرسة مشان يكفي الشغل ومشان يلحق مصروف بيت والأولاد.
In Afghanistan, over 4 decades into the humanitarian crisis, the situation is complex. Natural disasters, deepening poverty, food insecurity, and climate change affect so many people across the country, especially those who are internally displaced. Another 6.4 million Afghans are refugees, most of them in neighboring Iran and Pakistan. In the Americas, the number of refugees and migrants crossing the Darien jungle between Colombia and Panama on foot in 2023 was more than 500,000, the highest ever recorded. But did you know that the majority of people forced to flee conflict remain in their own country? 68.3 million people are internally displaced around the world. This is an increase of 50% over the last 5 years. One of the situations that continues to cause internal displacement is the conflict in Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo. Over 6 million people were internally displaced by the end of 2023. Some have fled multiple times, seeking safety, then facing new attacks. Fighting between armed groups and the Congolese forces has intensified in the provinces of North Kivu, South Kivu, and Ituri. The toll on women is especially devastating as sexual and gender-based violence persists.
C'est beaucoup plus la population qui subit les astres de conflit. Il y a la séparation de famille, il y a des enfants qui ne vont plus à l'école, il y a la nourriture qui est devenue très compliquée. Les gens vivent aux dépens de l'assistance humanitaire.
In Ukraine, the full-scale war has continued for more than 2 years. 9.7 million people were displaced from their homes by the end of 2023, including both refugees and those who are internally displaced. Now, fighting has again intensified, and more people are forced to flee as they struggle to survive and rebuild. In Gaza, the unfolding humanitarian crisis is unprecedented. Nearly the entire population has been forcibly displaced and struggling to survive. Nowhere is safe. These are not just numbers. These are people's lives. A reminder that more needs to be done to find meaningful solutions and ultimately to make peace a reality around the world. Wars can end. People can rebuild their lives with the right support. More than 5 million internally displaced people and more than 1 million refugees returned home in 2023, and those still in exile can find hope and opportunity in the countries that welcome them.
Y llegó el correo donde decía que puedo acudir a las oficinas de la Secretaría de Relaciones Exteriores a recoger mi documento como carta de naturalización como refugiado. Y yo, wow, no lo puedo creer.
Refugees are going to school, finding jobs, starting businesses, and contributing to their communities.
If every refugee or displaced person is given equal access to the educational system, I believe development is going to speed up in the world, because refugees carry a lot of energy, they carry a lot of knowledge that we are unable to tap from.
In 2023, more than 32,000 people acquired citizenship or had their nationality confirmed in 29 countries. Communities like the Pemba, who were once stateless in Kenya, now hold a legal identity.
na kutambuliwa kama raia rasmi wa nchi hii ya Kenya. Yani tumezungua a new chapter.
What happens when the world is committed to finding solutions for people forced to flee, host communities, and stateless people? How can we do more to offer hope when there is so much despair? To find out more, go to UNHCR.org/global-trends and share this video to help others see the stories behind the numbers.